Hi, today we're taking a look at the Gevi Espresso Machine with grinder. If you're just getting started with making espresso at home, this could be a great option since it's pretty affordable and comes with a built-in grinder. I'll show you all its features, how it performs, and my workflow, so you can decide if it might be right for you as your first espresso machine. First, let me walk you through what comes in the box. And if you want to see the full unboxing, check out my unboxing short. The machine comes with a 58mm spouted portafilter. I used to think this size was only found on higher-end machines, but now I'm seeing it more and more on entry-level models. This is actually great news because a bigger basket means you can use 16 to 20 grams of coffee, which gives you a nice strong shot. And you'll have more options for puck preparation tools. Just keep in mind that this is a 3-tab portafilter, so regular 2-tab bottomless portafilters won't fit. You'll need to look for specific compatible ones. In the box, you get 4 filter baskets, 2 pressurized, and 2 non-pressurized ones. The pressurized ones are good for pre-ground coffee, but since this machine has its own grinder, I'd probably just set those aside. The non-pressurized baskets don't have any extra pressure help. All the resistance comes from your coffee puck. Getting the right grind size is super important here, but trust me, your coffee will taste much better. I'll show you how to dial in later in the video. They throw in a plastic tamper, which isn't fancy, but gets the job done better than those scoop-style tampers. What's really nice is they include a stainless steel milk pitcher. That's essential if you want to try your hand at latte art. The bean hopper is pretty straightforward to install. Just line it up with the opening and twist to lock it in place. It's got this anti-popcorning lid that keeps the beans from jumping around while grinding, which helps you get a more even grind. Overall, you've got everything you need to start making espresso right away. Let's talk about the design and build quality of this Gevi machine. While you can see some black plastic parts on the cup warming tray and the sides, this machine's got some good weight to it. Definitely doesn't feel flimsy. The control panel is right in the middle with just 3 buttons, keeping things nice and simple. There's a screen above the buttons that shows some icons, but honestly, if they'd used that screen to show brew time and grind time, that would have made it way more useful. On the right side, you've got this rotary knob that controls both steam and hot water. Turn it to the left, and hot water comes out of the steam wand, handy for making Americanos. Turn it right, and you've got steam for frothing milk. The drip tray is large, you won't have to empty it too often. There's also this neat storage space in the back where you can keep your cleaning tools and a basket. The water tank is pretty large too, so you won't be running back and forth to fill it up all the time. Overall, it's exactly what you'd expect from an entry-level machine. Straightforward, no complicated settings or extra fancy features. While it might not look as fancy as those high-end machines, it seems like a really practical choice for everyday use. This Gevi machine has got a conical burr grinder. Unscrew the hopper and pull up this little ring to remove the outer burr. You can see a conical burr with a pretty standard 5-star design. This is a very common burr geometry. It works well for espresso grinding. There's this nice portafilter holder at the bottom, where you can just lock in your portafilter and let it catch the grounds hands-free. The bean hopper has 30 different grind settings that you can adjust by turning the hopper. You've got 2 ways to use this grinder. You can either fill up the sealed bean hopper with a whole bag of coffee, or do what I prefer, which is weighing out each dose with a scale. For grinding, there's a grind button that you press once for a single shot or twice for a double. But this can be confusing. The amount of coffee you get actually changes depending on your grind setting. When I set it to 0, a single cup gives about 6.8 grams and a double gives 11.6 grams. But at setting 5, double shot gives me 16.3 grams, so you'll definitely want to use a scale to check how much coffee you're actually getting. You can customize the grind time by holding down both the grind button and either the single or double cup button, then pressing the grind button again when you think you've got enough. But since you can't see how much coffee you're grinding in real time, I find it's much better to just weigh your beans first and grind them all at once. This way, you know exactly how much coffee you're using every time. Using this machine is easy. This machine uses a single heating block. It only takes about 90 seconds to warm up. First, weigh out your coffee beans. I started with 16 grams. After grinding, you'll get a little mound of coffee in your portafilter. Just give the side of the portafilter a gentle tap to level out those grounds. Then tamp down with even pressure. Make sure you're keeping that tamper nice and level, not tilted to one side. Next, just lock in your portafilter and hit the brew button. If you're looking for a simple, no-fuss approach to making espresso, that's how it works. But I know you probably have a bunch of questions, like, what grind size should you use? How long should the shot take? What do you do when things aren't quite right? All these details might seem tricky if you're new to espresso, so let me show you exactly how I dialed in this machine. If you're using those non-pressurized baskets, the grind size and dosage will have a huge impact on your shot quality. When I first got the machine, I had no idea which setting would work best. I did a little test by grinding tiny amounts at different settings. We're looking for grounds that feel like fine salt, but don't stick to your fingers. This helped me pick a starting point without wasting a bunch of beans. I tried setting 10 first. It felt a bit grainy. Then setting 5 was more like fine sand. Just to see the range, I tried setting 0. That was more like powder and stuck to my fingers. So I started my first test shot at setting 10 with 16 grams of coffee. Got my scale under the cup and started timing. We're looking to get about 36 grams of espresso in 25 to 30 seconds. But apparently, this shot came out way too fast. When your shot's too fast like that, you need to go a few steps finer. I adjusted to setting 5. And this time, things looked much better. 36 grams in 30 seconds. It was on target. You could really see the difference. This shot was nice and creamy, while that first one was pretty watery. From here, you can make tiny adjustments one step at a time to get it exactly how you like it. When I tried that same setting 10 with the pressurized basket, it actually worked pretty well. That's because the pressurized basket helps control the flow rate, so you can still get a decent shot even if your grind isn't perfect. The trade-off is that the coffee isn't quite as rich as what you get with the non-pressurized basket. After making lots of espresso with this machine, I'm really impressed with what you get for the money. You get that nice thick crema and that classic espresso texture. It has pre-infusion, which starts with low pressure to wet the coffee puck before hitting it with full pressure. This helps get a more even extraction. This machine doesn't have all those fancy features you'd find on more expensive models. You can't customize brew temperature or pre-infusion time, and there's no pressure gauge to monitor your extraction. But hey, if you're just looking to make good coffee without getting too technical, this machine totally gets the job done. You can definitely make cafe-quality Americanos and lattes with it. And here's something that really surprised me. This machine has a 3-way solenoid valve, which is pretty rare at this price point. What this means is that after brewing, it automatically releases the pressure. You can take out the portafilter right away, keep your brew head clean, and knock out the coffee puck super easily. Makes it much quicker to make your next cup. Let me share a quick tip to make your coffee even better. Getting a WDT tool and a dosing ring can really up your game. After grinding, you get this little mountain of coffee in your portafilter. If you tamp it just like that, you'll end up with uneven density in your puck, which affects how your coffee extracts. Put the dosing ring on first, then use the WDT tool to stir up those grounds. This breaks up any clumps and spreads everything out evenly. And if you want to be really consistent, a calibrated tamper is a nice upgrade. It helps you get the same pressure and level temp every time. Also, investing in a better filter basket can also noticeably improve your shot quality. It comes with a 1-hole steam wand. And since it's got a single thermoblock design, you'll need to do your steaming after brewing your espresso. Just flip the steam switch and give it a moment to heat up. Before steaming milk, make sure to purge any water from the wand before you start steaming. While the steam power isn't the strongest I've seen, it's definitely enough to get that silky milk texture you want for latte art. I'm still working on my latte art skills, but with some practice, you can get some really nice results. You can make all sorts of coffee drinks at home with this setup. Want a caramel latte macchiato? You can make it with a few simple steps. The best part is you can make it exactly how you like it. Add as much or as little caramel sauce as you want. Pretty cool that you can create coffee shop quality drinks right at home. Here's the bottom line. A few years back, if you wanted an espresso machine with a built-in grinder, you'd probably look at something like the Breville Barista Express or Barista Pro. But now there are more budget-friendly options out there. This machine costs about half as much, but still performs really well. Sure, it might not have all the bells and whistles, but for regular home use, it's definitely worth considering, especially if you're looking for your first espresso machine. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.